are back, and we're broadcasting live today from coast to coast and around the world, and we welcome our audience. And we also welcome my next guest, Michael Shoesmith, who is the executive editor of the P.P. Simmons News and Ministry Network, a network that reaches millions around the world through syndicated blogs and Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and websites and ppsimmons.com and through the Gallups.com website and books and videos and material. It's just amazing. Mike Shoesmith is a syndicated blogger and has been for years. Also, he is an author of numerous books and an entrepreneur, and as I said, the executive editor at P.P. Simmons and a co-host of this program, and he hails out of Toronto, Canada. Mike, it's great to have you with us. Listen, you've been following this Michael Brown Ferguson, Missouri case, and they've appealed their case to the United Nations. Tell us what you know about that. What's the latest?
Yeah, well, there's a grand jury seated right now to determine the fate of the officer who shot Michael Brown there in Ferguson, Missouri, just outside of St. Louis. And while the grand jury has been debating, the Michael Brown family has not been sitting on their laurels, Carl. They've been over at Geneva, Switzerland, petitioning the United Nations Torture Committee, the United Nations Committee on Torture, Carl. They've been petitioning them to deal with this problem that they're having in America. Yeah. So now the United Nations has ruled on that, and they've said that they're going to investigate the torturous acts of the American policing system against Michael Brown and others. I mean, that's pretty shocking.
Well, you know what? What is shocking? I was going to say what is shocking is that police officers all over America routinely torture the people they arrest. Routinely, I've been tortured 4 or 5 times on the side of the road myself, and and now we have in the Ferguson case, we've got 7 or 8. I don't remember the exact number. Black people from Ferguson who have come forward as eyewitnesses saying what the cop said is what happened. Michael Ferguson, the people who are backing him are lying. These are black folks from Ferguson. Well, anyway, go ahead.
To petition a group of people, a world body which specializes in pandering to the lowest sludges of humanity there at the UN, if it wasn't for the veto power of the United States, Israel would not exist today. And because the United Nations panels there are made up of anti-Semites, and as Rush Limbaugh famously said once, if you look at a United Nations meeting, it's kind of like looking at the bar scene from the first Star Wars movie. These people, people are dressed for their there's actually a war season in the Middle East. Many people will not know that there are seasons where they go to war there, and many of those countries are dedicated to the annihilation of Israel. Yeah. And if it wasn't for the United States veto power there at the Security Council, guess what? They would have marched on Israel decades ago, following 1967 when they secured their security over there. No,
there's no doubt. But listen, hey, you've made an interesting connection though between some comments that are being made in the Michael Brown case in Ferguson to I don't want to give it away, but make this connection. Tell our folks what the connection you've made. And by the way, I agree with you 100%. I read some of your stuff on P.P. Simmons just the other day about this.
While the Brown family was over in Geneva, Switzerland, petitioning the UN to take care of this problem for them, their lawyer has been all over the media networks making their case. And he said recently in an interview, he said, "Look, all life has value," and he said black life has value. Right. And so that's why they're making such a big deal about this. But listen, if he really means that. Yes. That black life has value, that all life has value, Carl. Yes. They are protesting it at the wrong address.
Yes, they are.
They need to move their protests over to Planned Parenthood.
Thank you.
Which was founded by Margaret Sanger. Now, many of the audience members will know all about Margaret Sanger, but she's famous for recruiting black pastors in Harlem and in the South to promote abortion and the pill. To slow down the spread of the black race around the country and around the world, because after all they're not much higher than the apes, than monkeys, as far as she was concerned, in so much as their ability to control their sexual urges.
Right, and let me just stop right here and say, because you've said a mouthful, and a lot of our audience driving down the road, their jaws on the ground now. They said, "Well, did Mike Shoesmith just really say what I think I heard him say?" No, Mike Shoesmith is telling you what Margaret Sanger said. And her writings are prolific. Not only did she want to slow down the black race, she was attempting to exterminate the black race through a thing called Planned Parenthood. And this recruiting of these black pastors, in her writings, she admits she was, okay, I'm going to use Jonathan Gruber's words. She was admitting that she was playing upon the stupidity of the American people, particularly the black race, those are her words, because she was going to use black pastors to exterminate their own race under the guise of Planned Parenthood. Abortion industry in America was designed to destroy the black family and the black race. And you're right. Go ahead.
Not only the blacks, but she once famously said that the Aboriginal people in Australia are only one step above chimpanzees.
Yep.
And they have no ability to control their sexual urges. So she believed in she was a heavy proponent of eugenics, and she set out to create a superior race that could better control its sexual urges, and get rid of the idiots, get rid of the all very Hitler type speech.
Yep.
And she may have publicly denounced everything Hitler was doing to the Jews, but secretly she was right on board with the whole eugenics project of wiping out. And she was able to get many of the black preachers on board with this. In fact, many people will not know that Martin Luther King Jr. was given an award by the Margaret Sanger Foundation, wherein when he gave the speech accepting that award, he praised her.
Yeah.
And, this really does speak to an issue of Stockholm syndrome almost, where the black community, they become enamored with their handlers. And, it's time for the black community to rise up and say, we've had enough.
Thank you.
We've had enough.
That's what I've been screaming for years.
Right. We've had enough of the voter slavery, being slaves to the Democrats when, the Republican Party has been, look who won the election here. A great assortment of people, blacks, young women, black women, and the Democrats have been holding the black people, and ppsimmons has been saying all along, there's only one race, and that's the human race.
Right.
And it's time for black people to stop pulling the race card and get out of the slavery mentality and say, look, we've had enough of this slavery. We're going to decide for ourselves. Our men are going to go back to their wives, go back to their children, go back to their families. We're going to take care of our own business. We're going to get off the public dole. We're going to get out of the slavery of the Democrat Party, which has told us that we're worthless and we're only good for our vote, and then enslaving us more and more and more. And we're tired of that, and it's time to get out from under the thumb of the Democrat slavery board.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, and that's what I've been screaming for years, and of course you have with me. And gosh, there was something I was going to say that just went right through my brain. That happens, especially.
Well, all they have to do is look up the address for the local Planned Parenthood office there, and there may be one in Ferguson. If not, just move your protest on over to Planned Parenthood there in St. Louis and go protest them, because if the Michael Brown lawyer is correct and all life has value, even black life has value, then it's time to take that seriously and move on over to Planned Parenthood. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And by the way, and now I remember what I was going to say. You were talking about Margaret Sanger and all of the racist mentality she had in constructing Planned Parenthood. Now, see, Mike, here's the thing. Margaret Sanger was a racist. She was practicing racism. See, I've been telling people this. Every time I'll say something, I don't like this policy of Obama. Obama's lying. Obama's unconstitutional. Obama's lawless. You're a racist. No, I'm not a racist. Why am I a racist? Well, because he's the first black president and you're just a racist. No, it doesn't matter. I don't care if he's white, black. I don't care if it's a man, woman. I'm just speaking truth. But I have challenged people. I say, go, listen, I'm 59 years old. My record is before me. Go back into my past. Go back into my childhood. Go back into my work days before I was a pastor in the secular field. Find anything that shows that I have ever been a racist or tagged as a racist with evidence behind it. You're not going to find it. In fact, you're going to find just the opposite. It'll be embarrassing to you, because a racist is what Margaret Sanger was. Somebody who believes that because of the color of somebody's skin, they are less than human, they are less than you, they are less valuable than you. In other words, if I was a racist, I would say, I believe all white people are better than all black people because black people are just scum and white people are on top. That's racism. That's what Margaret Sanger said, those kinds of things. That's racism. That is being a racist. And people need to learn, if you're going to use the words, use them correctly. Right, Mike?
Well, I mean, indeed. And, nobody is more willing to welcome the black community, members of our own race, the human race, to give it up. Give up the race card. Give up Al Sharpton, who is a racist.
He is a racist. Yes.
In so much as he uses the race card to promote his own personal agenda and fill his bank accounts with money. And Jesse Jackson, the same thing. And Barack Obama, who uses race, is a racist who uses race to get himself elected. And the Democrats who use race to fill the voting coffers so they can get more power and to keep the black community under their thumb. It's time for the black community to rise up against their handlers and say, we have had enough of this. We are going back to our families, back to our homes. We are going to take care of our own people. We will no longer be held hostage by the Democrat Party.
Absolutely. And, and I think about the Democrat Party. They're the only ones that bring up these racist rants. Think when Condoleezza Rice people were talking about maybe her running. Immediately, she's called nasty names and she's coming from the plantation. I mean, they use these words. Dr. Carson, they already got him as an Uncle Tom. Help me, Herman Cain, when he was running. I mean, they crucified the man. Now, maybe he did some of that stuff, I don't know, but boy, they Uncle Tom'd him. Who did that? Who used those words? The Democrats. The Democrats. How about Joe Biden when Barack Obama was starting to rise through the polls as a presidential candidate? He said, finally, we have a young, articulate, clean black man running for office. I mean, he said that, and they made him vice president. Please, my brothers and sisters that are black in America, please wake up. Wake up. This Ferguson deal is a sham. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, many of the names you mentioned, Herman Cain, et cetera, these are some of the brightest minds you'll ever meet, and they're on the conservative side.
Yeah.
And when you talk about Joe Biden, one of the biggest idiots you'll ever run into. I mean, that guy. I think the only reason he was chosen as vice president is to keep people from getting rid of Obama, because if Obama could be like, well, look who you'll have if you get rid of me. You better keep
That's true. And Obama actually looks smart next to Joe Biden, and that's saying a lot. Hey, Mike, we got to take a time out. We've gone way over.